Chapter 2502. You're Lin Yi. From Chi-Chi looked at the back view of the man leaving, filled with sadness and regret. She couldn't stop the tears from flowing down her cheeks. She'd failed in the end. She couldn't get the blood, so what would happen to Lil 9? Lin Yi walked out from the back of the auction house and saw Chi-Chi talking to the Sky class from afar. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry when he saw Chi-Chi crying on the ground. This girl was an assassin, how could she be so weak? Coming out to do a mission like that? Shaking his head, Lin Yi walked over to Chi-Chi quickly. Chi-Chi heard footsteps beside her and raised her head. It was Lin Yi, and she pouted before lowering her head again, crying even harder. This guy was so evil. He was here to watch the show, wasn't he? You still have the blue crystal? Lin Yi asked. Lin Yi had heard the conversation between Chi-Chi and the Sky class, and he was very interested in the fact that Chi-Chi still had the blue crystal. What does that have to do with you? You're not going to steal my blue crystal, are you? Chi-Chi thought that Lin Yi was going to steal her stuff again. She raised her head and glared at Lin Yi. Don't think that you can bully me just because you're strong. Wait. Wait until my dad comes back, he won't let you get away with this. Pfft. Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry at Chi-Chi's words. Was this a competition of fathers? What are you laughing at? I'm telling you, my dad's really strong. Even his disciple can beat you up half to death. Chi-Chi got even angrier at the sight of Lin Yi laughing. She warned Lin Yi fiercely. It's nothing. Lin Yi shook his head helplessly as he took out the blood from his pocket and put it in Chi-Chi's hand. Ah. This is. Chi-Chi stared at the bottle Lin Yi had given her in disbelief, her eyes wide as she raised her head. You. Don't always bite the hand that feeds you in the future. Lin Yi patted Chi-Chi's head. Looks like Mr. Donggua's story was for nothing. You really have a bad memory. Not everyone is as kind as me. Chi-Chi paused and raised her head, a strange look on her face. What do you mean? There was an idiot who saved an injured girl on the road. The girl lost too much blood and almost died. Then the idiot saved the girl. That girl wanted to kill that idiot for looking at her body. There was also an idiot who saw a young girl fail a mission in Blue Town. He helped the young girl, but the young girl still seemed to hold a grudge against him. After a while, the idiot went to participate in the Ice Palace's trial and encountered that young girl again. That young girl had been robbed of her treasures. Thus, the idiot helped the girl find many treasures of heaven and earth, helping her complete the task. But after a certain period of time. But after a while, the girl tried to steal his blue crystal again. Lin Yi told her about his encounters with Chi-Chi. Ah. Why you? You're that Lin Yi. Chi-Chi's shocked face got even more colorful after hearing Lin Yi's words. She stared at Lin Yi, speechless. She didn't understand what was going on. She never would have thought that this person would be her savior. All right, go back early. This is my phone number. Call me if there's any news about the blue crystal. Lin Yi gave Chi-Chi a piece of paper. Of course, you can come to me for revenge, but not today. Leave as soon as possible. Someone's looking for trouble. Ah. Someone's looking for trouble. Are you okay? Do you need my help? Chi-Chi asked subconsciously. The person in front of her was Lin Yi, and this kind of change changed Chi-Chi's heart as well. Chi-Chi's sudden change made Lin Yi speechless. Was this girl suddenly caring about him? Lin Yi shook his head with a smile. It's nothing. Just take care of yourself. Oh. Chi-Chi felt a little worried all of a sudden. She didn't know why, but the hatred she had for Lin Yi was gone all of a sudden. Could it be that she was starting to like him? That couldn't be, right? She loved brother Xiao Yi unwaveringly. How could she fall in love with someone else? That was impossible, absolutely impossible. Yes, he must have given her the blood of an Earth Element Sky-class spirit beast, and she let him go because he could save Lil 9. That had to be it. I'm leaving. Lin Yi didn't linger. He realized that Han Xiaope seemed to be in trouble as well. This trouble came from the hidden house Yu, Pan Gao. He was pointing at Han Xiaope and Xiaoke with an arrogant face. Who was that person sitting with you? Don't tell me you don't know him. Tell me, and I'll only look for trouble with him. I won't do anything to you. You guessed right, we really don't know him. Han Xiaope had been with Lin Yi for a while now, and his temperament had changed. He was no longer the weak and cautious Han Xiaope of the Hidden House Yu. Although the Hidden House Yu couldn't be compared to the Hidden House Yu, as long as Lin Yi was on their side, the Hidden House Yu wouldn't dare do anything to them. Pan Gao raged. He didn't think that this person would be this ignorant, rebutting him. Do you know who I am? I do. Aren't you called Pan Gao? Mr. Liu has said it many times. You're from the Hidden House Yu. Han Xiaope said faintly. Since you know I'm from the Hidden House Yu, why are you going against me? Pan Gao raged. So what if I'm right? I'm not afraid to tell you that you're no match for me. Han Xiaope was someone who only knew how to make pills. It was a piece of cake for him to beat Pan Gao. Who are you? Pan Gao was both shocked and angry. Alright, aren't you looking for me? What are you yelling for? I didn't run away. I just went to get the pure topaz. Lin Yi patted Pan Gao's shoulder and said faintly. Pan Gao was still angry, but he jumped when Lin Yi suddenly patted him from behind. He went to find Han Xiaope and Xiaoke because he was afraid that Lin Yi would run away. But now that Lin Yi was back, he didn't need to find anyone else. He turned to face Lin Yi. Why did you pat me? Do you know who I am? Chapter 2503. Do you have amnesia? He just told you that you are the Hidden House Yu's right Pan Gao, and you turned around and forgot. With your IQ, don't run around on the streets. You'll get lost again. Lin Yi looked at right Pan Gao mockingly. Kid, who doesn't know how to talk fast? I just want to ask you one question. The Hidden House Yu is determined to get the pure topaz. Are you going to let it go or not? Right Pan Gao asked. If you wanted to let it go, I would have let you have it just now. Lin Yi said, alright, if this is what you want, you can leave. Good, very good. I'll remember you. Right Pan Gao nodded and smiled instead of being angry. I want to see how long you can keep the pure topaz in your hands. With that, right Pan Gao didn't wait for Lin Yi's reply. He turned around and left, quickly disappearing from Lin Yi's sight. However, Lin Yi knew that right Pan Gao didn't really leave just like that. He probably asked his grandfather to think of a way to deal with him secretly. Lin Yi passed the box to Yu Xiaoke and said, this is for you. Ah. For me. Yu Xiaoke was stunned. And you and Han Xiaope go down the mountain first. Wait for me at the parking lot. Lin Yi told Yu Xiaoke and Han Xiaope. There were many people at the parking lot at the bottom of the mountain. It was relatively safer there. As long as they didn't initiate a conversation with strangers, there wouldn't be any problems. Han Xiaope's expression changed slightly. He thought of something and said, Boss, that right Pan Gao, and, don't worry. Lin Yi waved his hand. He didn't want Han Xiaope and Yu Xiaoke to worry. Even if he told them the truth, they wouldn't be able to help much with their strength. So, Lin Yi decided to take it on himself. To be honest, Lin Yi was not afraid of the enemies from the Hidden Yu family. Lin Yi was afraid of the Vice President of Heaven stage. He was an expert at the peak of the early phase of the Heaven rank, and it seemed that he was slightly stronger than the average Heaven rank expert. Lin Yi wasn't sure if he could deal with him. After all, Lin Yi's current martial skills could be used for sneak attacks, but it was a head-on confrontation. Lin Yi did not have any advantage. Alright, we'll be leaving first. Han Xiaopa nodded. Then. Be careful. Xiaoka looked at Lin Yi worriedly and suddenly leaned forward bravely, kissing Lin Yi's lips. Lin Yi was startled. Yu Xiaoka's sudden action made his heart skip a beat. Although both of them were masked, there was no skin contact. However, Lin Yi had never experienced his heart beating like an electric current before. At this moment, Lin Yi realized that Xiaoka had occupied a large place in his heart without him realizing it. I'll wait for you. Xiaoka was brave, but she couldn't let go in front of Han Xiaopa. It was already amazing that she could do this, and it showed how much she liked the male thief. She quickly separated after kissing Lin Yi. Her eyes were filled with shyness as she said to Lin Yi. Okay. I will. Lin Yi said solemnly. Not far away, young Chi-Chi was still paying attention to Lin Yi's movements. She didn't know why, but for some reason, she felt a wave of discomfort when she saw Xiaoka taking the initiative to kiss her. How shameless, taking the initiative to kiss a man. It was too embarrassing. Aw. Young Chi-Chi only cared about cursing Xiaoka. She didn't notice the road under her feet and stepped on a stone. She staggered and almost fell to the ground. Seeing that everyone was looking at her strangely, young Chi-Chi snorted and left quickly. Practitioners could stagger when they fell. How stupid would a cultivator be? Lin Yi watched as Han Xiaopa and Xiaoka left the market and went to the parking lot not far away. A cold smile appeared on his face as he turned and walked in another direction. This direction wasn't the market, and it wasn't the way to leave either. It was another path up the mountain. This road was obviously not a regular road, but a rugged natural path that was very difficult to walk. It was in the opposite direction of the cultivator's market. In the cultivator's market, the vice president of Heaven rank was sitting in a courtyard, and the other person was his disappointing disciple, Skinny Stick. Master, are we just going to let that kid leave like this? He doesn't just have blue crystals, he also has yellow jade. Skinny said anxiously. Don't worry. The vice president smiled faintly and waved his hand at the skinny man. It's impossible for him to leave. Where can he go? Don't worry, my eyes have been watching him. Not only did he not leave, but he went to another mountain path. I don't know if he knows something or is doing it on purpose. Mountain path. Isn't that the herb plantation of our cultivator trade association? He went up. Skinny's face changed. So I don't know what he's doing up there. The vice chairman said, but don't worry, if we don't do it, someone will do it for us. Master, you mean? Skinny asked carefully. Can he go back safely after offending the Hidden House Yu? You don't have to think about the yellow jade, the Hidden House Yu is determined to get it. There's no point in us snatching it back. Although it was auctioned for more than 200 million this time, it might not be the same price the next time. Tens of millions at most. We don't need to offend the Hidden House Yu for such a thing. The vice chairman said, our goal this time is the blue crystal. Oh, master, you mean to let the Hidden House Yu make the first move? The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. We'll wait until they're almost done before we make our move. Skinny understood what his master meant. Yes, that's it. The vice chairman nodded. But that kid is just a peak Earth class mid-stage master. Is there a need to do this? If we work together with the hidden house Yu, maybe we can get more benefits. Skinny asked in confusion. Just peak Earth class mid-stage. If it's just that, how did he cripple your brothers and almost kill them? The vice chairman sneered and said, don't you need to use your brain to think about it? This. Skinny finally remembered why they were looking for Lin Yi. He immediately broke out in a cold sweat. Yes, how could a peak Earth class mid-stage master so easily kill a peak Earth class late-stage master? Either Lin Yi was able to fight someone stronger than him, or he was hiding his true strength. One had to know that even a Sky class early phase couldn't kill an Earth class late phase peak with just one move. It was simply unbelievable. Chapter 2504. As a bodyguard. Let's go, it's about time. The hidden house of you should be on the move, we should get ready to go. The vice leader stood up. The vice leader was right. When Yu Pangao returned to the hotel room and told the short man everything that had happened, the short man was furious. The pure topaz was something that old man Yu had personally ordered him to get. Now that it was stolen, he wouldn't let it go. Especially when Yu Pangao exaggerated about how arrogant Lin Yi was, and how he didn't care about the hidden house of Yu. This made the short man even angrier, and he brought Yu Pangao out. Kid, you're quite good at choosing your route. Yu Pangao caught up to Lin Yi, and looked at Lin Yi's back from afar. He laughed coldly, don't think that we won't be able to find you just because you went up the mountain. I've said it before, let's see how long you can keep the pure topaz in your hands. Lin Yi's path was indeed out of Yu Pangao's and the short man's expectations, but with the help of some people in the Cultivator Trade Association, they were able to find him without a hitch. In fact, the vice leader was using them as pawns to test the waters. Lin Yi could easily kill an Earth-class late-phase peak master, so his true strength was at least at the early phase of Sky class. If that was the case, then they would let an early phase Sky class master test it out, and see how deep Lin Yi's strength was. Lin Yi laughed coldly, and turned his head. He looked at Yu Pangao and the short man with a mocking smile, and said calmly, do you know why I chose this path? Isn't it simple? Because you were afraid that we would come to steal the pure topaz, and wanted to escape, so you purposely chose this remote place. But you won't be able to hide. Yu Pangao said proudly. Wrong. Lin Yi said calmly. Wrong? Don't quibble, there's no one here. You don't need to keep your pitiful pride, your companion already ran for her life. Ha, stop pretending. Yu Pangao said mockingly. I chose this place because there aren't many people here. It doesn't matter if my identity is exposed. Lin Yi waved his hand, and said to Yu Pangao, the hidden house of Yu is really an idiot. You are the same. Yu Pangao is the same. You. You have a sharp tongue, and you're still so stubborn even at death. Pangao snorted, exposed. What identity do you have to be exposed? I say, short robber, your injuries healed quite quickly, didn't they? Looks like I didn't put too much force into that slap back then. You're still alive and kicking, looking for trouble. Lin Yi ignored Pangao. Instead, he looked at the short expert not far away and said coldly. Ah. The short expert was taken aback, and a look of horror flashed in his eyes. You are, so, the people from the Hidden Right family are all idiots. You brought your grandson to chase after me to your death. Lin Yi said as he looked at the short expert playfully. Brat, who are you calling courting death? Right, Pangao didn't recognize Lin Yi, so he didn't understand the situation. When he heard Lin Yi say that he was courting death, he instantly exploded. Paw! However, Yu Pangao had not finished speaking. The short expert ruthlessly slapped him across the face. Little bastard, shut up. Ah. Grandfather. Right, Pan Gao didn't know what was going on. He didn't know why his grandfather suddenly gave him a slap. Feeling wronged, he asked, What's wrong with me? Hee, Mr. Lin, I was just joking. The short expert was sweating profusely. He was a heaven rank expert, so he was very domineering. However, he could also distinguish between the strong and the weak. The combination of him and Right Pan Gao was far worse than the combination of him and the tall robber. Lin Yi could easily kill the previous combination. Wouldn't it be as easy as flipping his hand to kill him and his grandson? So, after understanding the situation, the short expert decisively gave in. Joke. You brought your grandson all the way here just to joke. Lin Yi stared at the short expert angrily. Are you crazy? I'm not crazy. Actually, my real purpose was to prevent Mr. Lin from carrying such a precious thing like the pure topaz. What if you meet a robber on the way? So, my grandson and I volunteered to be his bodyguards. The short expert said, That's right. The short expert said, Oh, that's it. Oh, you came to be a bodyguard. Alright, you guys hide first. Someone's coming. Lin Yi waved his hand. Someone's coming. Then we'll leave first. The short expert hurriedly said. Aren't you guys going to be my bodyguards? Why are you leaving? Could it be that you're not here to be bodyguards? Lin Yi looked at the short expert and said coldly. Of course we're here to be bodyguards. The short expert was shocked and quickly said. He was afraid that Lin Yi would kill him. He quickly bit on the point of being a bodyguard. Since you're here to be bodyguards, then that's good. You guys hide first. Wait for my summons to protect me. Lin Yi instructed them. Yes. The short expert nodded helplessly. He pulled Right Pan Gao and hid behind a huge rock not far away. However, he didn't dare to run away. He was afraid that this was a trap set by Lin Yi. If they ran away, Lin Yi would quickly kill them. Grandfather, why did you call him Mr. Lin? Who is he? After hiding behind the huge rock, Right Pan Gao asked suspiciously. Who is he? How did your grandfather get injured? How did your grandfather Gao die? That's who he is. The short expert glared at his grandson and said fiercely, Today, I almost died because of you. This brat is very cruel and ruthless. He's simply a violent maniac. Last time when your grandfather Gao and I were robbers, he didn't say a word and injured us. Today, he might have been in a good mood after taking a picture of pure topaz. That's why he let us go.
Ah. It's him. Right Pan Gao's face turned ashen. He broke out in a cold sweat. So it was this evil star. He was fearlessly acting tough in front of him and courting death. His life was really hanging by a thread. Alright, don't talk anymore. It seems like someone is really coming. The short expert was slightly surprised. He was a heaven stage expert, but Lin Yi was one step ahead of him. What kind of expert was Lin Yi? In fact, he was thinking too much. Previously, he was frightened by Lin Yi and didn't carefully investigate the surrounding situation. Lin Yi had already expected that other than the hidden Yu family members, the Heaven Stage Vice President would also come. Naturally, he was more careful than the short expert. The Heaven Stage Vice President brought the skinny stick to Lin Yi's side. Only then did he realize that Lin Yi was just standing there, calm and unruffled in the midst of the chaos. Chapter 2511, The School Bell's Bodyguard Free Reading _ Chapter 2511. Come and be a bodyguard update complete.
Chapter 2505. This situation made him slightly startled. What was Lin Yi doing? Why didn't the hidden house of you come looking for him? That's not right. I specifically ordered the disciples of the law enforcement hall to inadvertently give them a hint when they were looking for Lin Yi. That way, they would be able to find Lin Yi smoothly. But where was this person? Hello, Vice President. Is this skinny man your subordinate? Lin Yi was a little surprised after seeing the skinny man. He did expect the vice president to come back to avenge the two gatekeepers, but he didn't expect it to be because of this skinny man. No wonder. Lin Yi finally understood after seeing the skinny man. So the two gatekeepers were actually standing up for this skinny man. It was just that they weren't strong enough. Lin Yi found it strange at first. The two gatekeepers must have taken the wrong medicine. He was an Earth-class peak mid-stage master. Of all people, the gatekeepers could have looked for trouble, but they just had to look for him. They must have eaten their fill. Since you've seen me here, there's no need for me to hide anymore. That's right, he's my disciple. You stole his blue crystal and crippled two of my disciples. How are you going to settle this debt? The vice leader looked at Lin Yi coldly as if he was looking at a dead man. How? Do I still need to settle this? Lin Yi smiled faintly. You, scrawny disciple, bullied people first, and I was just helping them out. The two disciples after you, on the other hand, were crippled because they weren't strong enough. Who can you blame? Oh, what you said is correct. Then can I interpret it as saying that if I kill you now, who can you blame for your lack of strength? The vice leader was clearly twisting words and forcing logic, but his words sounded extremely natural. Of course, you can understand it that way, Lin Yi said lightly, but do you think I'm waiting here to die? Then you. The vice president was slightly shocked. To be honest, he was also quite surprised. Lin Yi was inexplicably standing here without hiding. What was the reason? Moreover, where were the people of the Hidden Right family? Bodyguards, come out and work. Someone's bullying the person you're protecting. Lin Yi turned his head to look at the short expert and the boulder to his right. Cough cough. The short expert had no choice but to bring his right arm out. His expression was extremely ugly, but there was nothing he could do. He was in a dilemma. He had no choice but to come out, but he didn't want to face the vice leader of the heaven rank after coming out. Third brother of the right, why are you here? The vice president of Heaven Stage looked at the two Hidden You family members who came out from behind the boulder in shock. He was very surprised. How did these two people become Lin Yi's bodyguards? That's right, we're this gentleman's bodyguards. The short expert said helplessly, we're here to protect this gentleman's safety, Mr. Vice President. What can I do for you? The short expert's words were very clear. He was currently being forced into a corner. If the short expert wanted to cause trouble for Lin Yi, then he would have no choice. I'm also in a difficult position here. The vice president of Heaven Stage frowned. He really couldn't figure out the truth of the matter. He could only say, third brother of the right, what do you mean? Did you get your pure topaz? Pure topaz. We don't want it. We're here to protect this gentleman's pure topaz from being stolen by others. The short expert said. You. The vice president of Heaven Stage found that things seemed to be wrong. Although he was an expert at the peak of the early stage of Heaven Stage, and third brother of the right was an expert at the early stage of Heaven Stage, there was only a slight difference in strength between the two. It was unrealistic to say that the vice president of Heaven Stage could completely suppress third brother of the right. He didn't have that ability, let alone easily kill him. If the two really fought, it would be easy to judge who would win and who would lose. The final winner would definitely be the vice president of Heaven Stage, but he would also have to put in a lot of effort. He might even get injured, which was not what he wanted to see. "I'm sorry," the short expert said helplessly. "Grandpa, why don't we join forces with the vice president? Can't we beat that kid?" Third brother of the right was somewhat unwilling. He suddenly said. First, he wanted to remind his grandpa that there were 2 heaven stage experts here, so there was no need to be afraid of Lin Yi. Second, he wanted to remind the vice president of heaven stage that he was forced to do this. He also wanted the vice president of heaven stage to persuade his grandpa. Sure enough, the vice guild master's eyes lit up. He finally understood why House Yu changed sides at the last minute. It turned out that they couldn't beat Lin Yi. But, a Sky-class early-stage master couldn't even be a match for an Earth-class mid-stage peak master. Was this for real? Wasn't this world too crazy? The short expert's expression was slightly sluggish. It wasn't that he didn't think of joining forces with the vice president of heaven stage, but the risk was too big. What if they still couldn't beat Lin Yi? He wasn't High Tripod Right. No matter what, High Tripod Right had never experienced the events of that day. However, the short expert had truly suffered a palm strike, and he knew very well how powerful that palm strike was. Not to mention much, just 2 strikes from it would have killed him without a doubt. Therefore, if Lin Yi used the same trick again and slapped him and the vice president of heaven stage, then he and the vice president of heaven stage would both be crippled. He didn't think that the vice president of heaven stage, who was just a bit stronger than him, would be able to survive. That wasn't realistic. Even if the vice president of heaven stage wasn't injured as badly as he was, he definitely wouldn't be able to fight. At that time, wouldn't it be as easy for Lin Yi to kill third brother of the right clan and Skinny Stick? After killing these 2, he would give them another slap each, and all 4 of them would die here. Thinking of this situation, the short expert couldn't help but feel his heart palpitate. He quickly dispelled this idea and suddenly turned around. He swung his arm and slapped third brother of the right clan's face again. "You prodigal brat, what nonsense are you talking about? That hero is so powerful, how can we 2 mere heaven stage experts work together to defeat him? What do you know, you little bastard? The last time I was with your grandpa Gao, he was an Earth-class late-phase peak, and I was an Earth-class early phase. He was killed in 1 slap, and I was crippled. I had to eat so many pills to recover. Have you forgotten?" The short expert's words were actually meant for the vice president of heaven stage to hear. That is, I was crippled by Lin Yi in 1 slap, and he only needed 1 slap to kill you. Although I know that I was pushed out by him to start a feud with you, I had no choice but to bite the bullet. So don't blame me, this wasn't my intention. Chapter 2506. If Lin Yi wanted to kill you, he would have already done it himself. Why would he need me? I'm being used as a tool. When we become enemies, the Hidden Right family and the Cultivator Trading Association will become enemies. He will be happy. But the shorty was thinking too much. Lin Yi didn't think that way at all. It was true that Lin Yi could cripple him with 1 palm, but that was under the condition of a surprise attack. If the short master had chi protection, then he would not be able to kill him. Moreover, Lin Yi could only send out 2 palms before using up all his physical chi. It was impossible to continuously activate the 7th style of the Raging Fire 8 trigrams palm. Therefore, Lin Yi did not have the confidence to deal with the Vice President of Heaven Division. He could only deal with it and escape. It was just that Lin Yi did not want the Vice President of Heaven Division to know that he was afraid. After all, he could not hide forever. He had to intimidate the Vice President of Heaven Division and make him afraid. Lin Yi still had to participate in the market and trade fairs in the future. He could not afford to have too much hatred with the Cultivator Trading Association. If the Vice President of Heaven Division was afraid and let it go, that would be the best result. The words of the Short Master were like thunder in the ears of the Vice President of Heaven Division. It was so shocking that he could not believe it was true. Could it be that Lin Yi, a peak Earth class master, really had the ability to beat the third brother of the right and himself? However, the Vice President of Heaven Division knew that the third brother of the right would not lie. After all, the third brother of the right was a dignified Heaven Division master. How could he tell such a lie? That was a joke with his own reputation. A dignified Heaven Division master was afraid of a peak Earth class master. If this was spread out, it would be a big joke. If it was not true and he was forced to do so, the third brother of the right would never say it. With that in mind, the Vice President couldn't help but reevaluate Lin Yi. Thinking back to how easily Lin Yi had crippled two of his disciples, and how he was able to fight someone of a higher level than him, the Vice President finally realized that his thinking was too simple. This Earth-class mid-phase peak in front of him was a different kind of Earth-class mid-phase peak. However, he still had some doubts in his heart. If Lin Yi was really so powerful, it would be better for him and third brother of the right to kill him directly. Why did he adopt this kind of tactic? Make the hidden Yu family his enemy. Since the whole story had already been revealed, how could they still be enemies? After taking a deep breath and doing his best to calm himself down, the vice leader raised his head and looked at Lin Yi. How should I address you? I have to admit that I've underestimated your strength. My surname is Ling, Lin Yi said lightly. Mr. Ling, do you really have the strength to annihilate us? The Vice Guild leader hesitated for a moment. He asked straightforwardly. Why don't I use you as an experiment? Stand here and let me hit you. You can personally experience it and see if I have the ability to destroy you fellows, Lin Yi said with a chuckle. Ha, Mr. Ling must be joking. How could the Vice President of Heaven rank agree to this suggestion? If he hadn't heard third brother of the right's words and if Lin Yi hadn't crippled two of his disciples before, he might have really agreed to this proposal. However, he didn't dare to try it now even if he was beaten to death. Even if he didn't believe it, third brother of the right was not a fool. Lin Yi didn't have that kind of strength. Could he surrender? Even when his grandson, Yu Pangao, proposed to join forces with him to deal with Lin Yi, he was flatly rejected by third brother of the right. He even slapped third brother of the right's grandson. This seemed unbelievable, but after thinking about it carefully, there was a truth in it. Lin Yi was really not simple. I'm not joking, Lin Yi said lightly. Well, Mr. Ling, since we've already made the grievances between us clear, then I'll be straightforward with you. I want to ask you, why don't you do it yourself, but let third brother of the right do it? Do you really want the hidden right family to become enemies with us? The Vice President of Heaven rank asked the doubt in his heart. He always felt that something was wrong. Of course not. Lin Yi shook his head. I don't want to do it myself because I can't control my strength well. Once I make a move, you'll be crippled even if you don't die. I let third brother of the right do it because I want to resolve the conflict between us smoothly. Resolve it smoothly. Don't you want to do it? The Vice President of Heaven rank was stunned and asked. You're the Vice President of the Cultivator Trading Association. You're different from the two small characters who guarded the door before. If I kill you, regardless of whether I have a reason or not, the Cultivator Trading Association will be slapped in the face. Won't your president avenge you? Lin Yi asked in reply, although I'm powerful and can fight enemies of a higher level, if the Cultivator Trading Association gets a few higher-level heaven rank masters, then I'm definitely no match for them. That's true. The Vice President of Heaven rank nodded and agreed with Lin Yi's words. Lin Yi was right. He was the vice president. His identity and status were completely different from the previous two gatekeeping disciples. If the gatekeeping disciples died, then so be it. Other than him, the master, no one would avenge them. However, if he, the vice president, died, then it would be unusual. Even the other vice president who had conflicts with him in the past would come forward to avenge him. In the past, those were just personal grievances. Now, they had to work together to protect the reputation of the Cultivator Trading Association. Moreover, the most important thing is that I still have to deal with you in the future. If there's a feud, it won't be good for me, said Lin Yi. When the vice president of Heaven Rank thought of Lin Yi's auction of the elixir, his heart moved slightly. He believed Lin Yi's words. However, after all, he did not personally experience Lin Yi's power like third brother of the right. So, he still asked, how can you prove that you have the ability to kill us? As long as you have the ability to prove that your strength is equivalent to mine, I won't pursue the previous matter. I will resolve the grievances with you and become friends. You should understand that in the world of cultivators, the strong are respected. If you have the strength, then I will talk to you as an equal. Then, how do you want me to prove it? Lin Yi kicked the question back to the vice president of Heaven Rank. This. The vice president of Heaven Rank frowned. He was also thinking about how Lin Yi would prove this point. Fighting against an enemy of a higher level was not something that could be seen just by using the mantra. No matter how Lin Yi displayed his strength, he would still be at the peak of mid-earth class. While the vice president of Heaven Rank was thinking, the skinny man beside him was anxious. From what his master said, it seemed like he wanted to take the initiative to ask for peace. That wouldn't do. Wouldn't his brothers have died in vain? Chapter 2507. Thus, the skinny man hurriedly shouted, Master, don't listen to this brat's bullshit. No matter how powerful he is, he can't beat a heaven stage master. How could there be a precedent of an earth stage master beating a heaven stage master? It's unheard of. I think he must have promised the Hidden You family some benefits so that the Hidden You family would help him lie. These words made the vice president of Heaven stage even more suspicious. However, before he could speak, the skinny man's words stopped abruptly and was replaced by a scream. Frenzy 8 trigrams palm 7th form. Lin Yi said to Lin Yi as he struck the skinny man with his palm. This person would always be a scourge if he didn't get rid of him. Even if the vice president of Heaven stage resolved today's matter, this guy would still bewitch the vice president of Heaven stage or other people to deal with Lin Yi in the future. Therefore, this person must not be left alive. Boom! A large hole appeared in the skinny man's chest. Lin Yi's palm had pierced through his chest. His body fell heavily on the ground and died instantly. You! The vice president of Heaven stage was shocked. He didn't expect Lin Yi to suddenly attack. However, just as he said the word you, he was shocked by the aura of Lin Yi's palm. His eyes widened and he couldn't speak. Didn't you want me to prove it? I've already proven it. Lin Yi said lightly as if killing the skinny man was just to prove his strength. The 13th style of the Heaven Rank Martial Technique. The vice president of the Heaven Rank Martial Technique sucked in a breath of cold air after a long while. He exclaimed, Not bad, you do have the strength to fight with me. Furthermore, if this palm hit me, I'm afraid that I would suffer quite a bit of injury. I believe that you are indeed qualified to speak with me on equal terms. Pan Gao was also dumbfounded. He also felt the power of Lin Yi's martial technique. He was so scared that his face turned ashen. He had tried to sow discord just now, but now he was regretting it. If he knew that Lin Yi was so powerful, why was he so talkative? But Lin Yi wasn't angry at him. On the contrary, he felt that this guy's big mouth had its benefits. If it weren't for him, things wouldn't have ended so easily. Lin Yi also wanted to reveal what he had said to the vice leader of the heaven rank, but there was no need for Lin Yi to waste his breath. On the other hand, the short expert, third brother of the right, was smiling bitterly as he looked at the vice president of heaven rank. He spread his hands and said, "Vice President, now you know my difficulties, right? He can indeed easily cripple me. The power of that palm is equivalent to a peak early stage heaven rank powerhouse. I have no choice but to do this." "I understand." The vice president of heaven rank nodded and said, "Mr. Ling, I apologize for offending you in the past. It's my fault for not disciplining him properly, but I will stand up for him. Don't take it to heart. After all, the cultivation world is cruel. I understand. If I didn't have the strength, I wouldn't have been able to do so. I'm afraid I'm a corpse now. I won't allow third old you to compromise here." Lin Yi smiled and said faintly, "It's good that you understand." The vice president also smiled. "It's easy to talk to smart people. I recognize you as a customer. This is my contact information. If there's anything in the future, you can contact me directly." As he said that, the vice president took out a business card made of pure gold. He threw it at Lin Yi. This kind of business card could not be owned by people of the same level of strength. The vice president giving it to Lin Yi was also an acknowledgement of Lin Yi. Of course, this action of throwing the business card was also a test and punishment for Lin Yi. The vice president used all his strength. Even if a heaven rank powerhouse took his business card head-on, it would be impossible for him to escape unscathed. It was inevitable that his hand would be injured. He would not be able to move for at least a month. He wanted to see if Lin Yi could take it head-on. If Lin Yi did not dare to take it head-on, it meant that Lin Yi's strength was still not enough. Even if he did not make trouble at the moment, he would value Lin Yi a little less. If Lin Yi took it head-on, he would naturally resolve today's grudge. However, Lin Yi's hand would definitely be crippled for a month. It could be considered a punishment for Lin Yi. Who asked him to kill his 3 disciples? Pa. Lin Yi reached out and took the business card thrown by the vice president of heaven rank. However, the strength of the business card hit Lin Yi's palm, breaking all the bones in Lin Yi's palm and damaging his tendons to a certain extent. Lin Yi had long expected this situation, but in order not to let the vice president of heaven rank see him clearly, he still chose to take it head-on instead of dodging. However, the vice president of heaven rank was wrong about Lin Yi. After Lin Yi caught the business card, he quickly circulated the second level of the art of dragon mastery to quickly heal himself. Although the injury on his palm was serious, the area was very small. Compared to the injury Lin Yi suffered in the fight, it was insignificant. Therefore, Lin Yi's palm quickly recovered to its original state. Lin Yi raised his hand and played with the business card in his hand. His palm and fingers were extremely flexible, showing no signs of injury at all. "Oh, this business card is very valuable. It is made of pure gold. It seems that the vice president is really giving me face. I will definitely keep this business card well." Lin Yi smiled and stuffed the business card into his pocket. As for his hand, it seemed that he was trying to adjust the position of the business card in his pocket. This situation made the vice president of heaven rank dumbfounded. He was fine. Lin Yi's hand was not injured at all. How was this possible? Even a peak early heaven class expert with the same strength as him couldn't protect their body with qi, right? Even if a peak early heaven class expert used qi to protect their body, they would more or less be affected. Even if the bones in the palm weren't completely broken, they would still be injured and unable to move freely, right? But Lin Yi seemed to be completely fine. Mr. Ling is indeed not an ordinary peak mid-earth class expert. The vice president of Heaven Rank sighed and said, I wonder which sect Mr. Ling is from. The strength of your sect's practitioners can't be measured by ordinary levels. Although Mr. Ling is currently peak mid-earth class, in reality, whether it is the power of your martial arts or the defensive ability of your chi protection, they all exceed the strength of a peak early heaven class expert. This humble one admires you greatly. The vice president of Heaven Rank asked himself that even his defensive ability was not as strong as Lin Yi's, and Lin Yi's martial arts power was stronger than his. Therefore, he directly addressed himself as this humble one and put Lin Yi in the position of a senior. Although Lin Yi's level was low, his strength was there. He didn't think that there was anything wrong with this. Yes, Senior Ling's strength is quite amazing. The third elder of the right also echoed. Although he didn't know why Lin Yi chose the Ling surname, he wouldn't expose him like a fool at this time. He didn't want to die yet. Chapter 2508. Since everything is clear and the grievances are resolved, I will leave. Senior Ling, take care. The vice president of Heaven Division confirmed that Lin Yi was more powerful than him, so his tone became respectful. It couldn't be helped. The cultivation world was a very realistic place. Okay, vice president, take care. I won't send you off. Lin Yi nodded. See you. The vice president of Heaven Division picked up the skinny body and left quickly. He disappeared from everyone's sight in an instant. Lin Yi also turned his head and looked at Third Elder of the Right and Pan Gao of the Right. Will you two continue to be my bodyguards? Asked Lin Yi. This. Senior Lin has divine protection. Naturally, you don't need small characters like us to protect you. Third Elder of the Right said awkwardly. He had changed the way he addressed Lin Yi from Mr. Lin to Senior Lin. Especially after seeing the power of Lin Yi's vital energy protection, he knew that he couldn't do anything to Lin Yi. Oh, what are you holding in your hand? Lin Yi pointed to the big suitcase in Pan Gao's hand and asked. This is money. It's the money from selling the elixir at the auction. Third Elder of the Right didn't dare to hide and told the truth. Oh, since you two don't protect me, shouldn't you compensate me for my loss? Give me the money. Although it's not much, I'm too lazy to beat you up, said Lin Yi. This is to be handed over to the Hidden Yu family. Third Elder of the Right said with a bitter face, if I give it to you, it'll be hard to explain when I go back. Oh, then you don't have to hand over the pure topaz to the Yu family. If I take away the pure topaz, how are you going to explain when you go back? Asked Lin Yi. I said that Senior Lin took it away. We can't do anything. Said Third Elder of the Right. That's it. Just say that I took the money away, said Lin Yi. Ah. Is that so? The Third Elder of the Right was stunned. However, he thought that it was a good reason. Since the pure topaz had been taken away, the money from selling the elixirs would not be a problem. Why? Can't I? Lin Yi looked at the Third Right coldly. Yes, of course. You Pan Gao, give all the money to Senior Lin. The Third Elder of the Right was shocked. He quickly agreed. All right. Yu Pan Gao did not dare to disobey the third brother of the Right. He carefully handed the box to Lin Yi and said in a trembling voice, Senior Lin, please accept it. Oh, okay, then you can go. Lin Yi took the suitcase and waved his hand impatiently. All right, then we'll be leaving first. Senior Lin, take care. The Third Elder of the Right breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that he had escaped a disaster. He hurriedly pulled Yupan Gao's hand and ran down the mountain. Lin Yi looked at the back of the third elder of the right as he left. He secretly breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. It would be a lie to say that Lin Yi was not nervous. Although Lin Yi had the ability to cripple the third elder of the right, it had to be based on the unexpected situation. The current situation was that Lin Yi could not completely succeed in a sneak attack. The third elder of the right was good, and the vice president of the heaven stage was on guard. If they really fought, Lin Yi would definitely be exposed. However, a few words in killing a skinny man had achieved a deterrent effect. The third elder of the right and the vice president of the heaven stage did not dare to act rashly. Instead, it allowed Lin Yi to easily resolve the crisis in front of him. After standing in place for a while, he did not hear any more movements. Lin Yi moved, but Lin Yi did not walk in the direction of the mountain. Instead, he continued to walk up the mountain. Lin Yi was going to make a detour before going down the mountain. It was to prevent anyone from waiting for him at the foot of the mountain. However, after walking for a while, Lin Yi was stunned by the scene in front of him. He saw that all kinds of rare herbs were planted all over the mountains and plains. Although it could not be said to be at the level of heaven and earth treasure, they were all good materials for alchemy. At least, the materials for refining a lot of second-grade elixir could be found here. This discovery surprised and delighted Lin Yi. If he brought some back for Han Jingjing to refine elixir, wouldn't it be a good solution to the problem of ingredients for alchemy? However, very quickly, Lin Yi calmed down again. These herbs were good stuff. It was impossible for them to grow naturally on this mountain. Moreover, this was the place where the Cultivator Trading Association held the market. Then, the herbs that were planted on this mountain most likely belonged to the Cultivator Trading Association. Sure enough, Lin Yi did not stay here for more than a few minutes before two people ran towards him. They shouted as they ran, "Who are you?" Lin Yi took a look. It was actually two Earth-class late-stage peak cultivators. Moreover, the clothes they were wearing were exactly the same as the disciples of the Cultivator Trading Association's law enforcement hall. From this characteristic, it could confirm Lin Yi's previous guess. This was really the Cultivator Trading Association's territory. "You guys are from the Cultivator Trading Association?" To confirm his guess, Lin Yi still asked. "That's right, but don't try to get close to us. This is the Cultivator Trading Association's restricted area. Only the vice chairman and elders of the association can enter." One of the disciples looked at Lin Yi cautiously. "Who are you?" "Trespassing is a crime punishable by death. If you don't explain yourself, we can only bring you down the mountain to see the vice chairman." "Oh. I'm good friends with your vice chairman." Lin Yi smiled. "As for trespassing, it's not really trespassing. I can only say that it was a mistake." "Mistake?" "This place is so remote, and the road is hard to walk. It's a completely different direction from the market. Who are you trying to fool by saying that?" The disciple clearly did not believe him. "As for knowing the vice chairman, we've heard that a lot. You don't believe me? I still have his business card." Lin Yi did not want to clash with these two disciples. After all, the two guards were deliberately making things difficult for him, and these two were just abiding by their duties. Lin Yi himself had entered their herb garden by mistake. "Business card." The disciples saw Lin Yi's hand reach into his pocket, but did not stop him. They were Earth-class late-phase peak, so naturally, they were not afraid of Lin Yi taking out a weapon. If Lin Yi was stronger than them, then he could kill them without a weapon. If he was weaker, then weapons would be useless. Lin Yi took out the name card made of pure gold and showed it in front of the two disciples of the law enforcement hall. It really is the vice chairman's business card, and it's a top-grade pure gold business card. These two law enforcement hall disciples were obviously knowledgeable people. They also knew that if it wasn't an important guest, the vice president wouldn't give out this kind of business card. Generally, it was good enough to give out a platinum-plated business card. Most of them were ordinary steel business cards. Chapter 2509. Happy cooperation. Wait a minute, I'll contact the vice president. Another law enforcement hall disciple said as he took out the walkie-talkie and pressed a few numbers on it. When it was connected, he said, "Hello, Vice President. I'm Lang Jinxiang, the team leader of the law enforcement hall in the herb garden. Here is a guest who accidentally trespassed. He has your gold business card in his hand. Do you want to let him go or escort him to your place?" What? Gold business card? The vice president's heart suddenly tightened after hearing this. He immediately thought of Lin Yi on the mountain and quickly said, Don't annoy him. Let him go on his own. Remember, you must be respectful. Yes. The team leader of the law enforcement hall quickly responded. Give me the walkie-talkie. I want to talk to the vice president, Lin Yi suddenly said to the team leader. This. The team leader hesitated for a moment. Give it to him, the vice president ordered directly. Okay. The team leader quickly gave the walkie-talkie to Lin Yi. Mr. Ling, is that you? How did you break into our herb garden? The vice president's tone was very good, without the slightest hint of blame. But you also know that those two disciples were just following orders. Don't lower yourself to their level. Our herb garden is indeed a restricted area. Well, I know. Vice President, you don't have to be nervous. I'm not a person who kills people casually, Lin Yi said with a wry smile. Lin Yi's words made the two disciples of the law enforcement hall jump in fright. No way. The vice president actually spoke to Lin Yi in such a respectful tone. Moreover, it seemed that Mr. Ling might kill them. Thinking of this, the two law enforcement hall disciples suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. I'm just saying. Why, Mr. Ling, what's the matter? The vice president asked. Vice President, may I ask if the herbs planted on the mountain are for sale? Lin Yi asked. Oh. Of course, these herbs are for sale. However, they weren't sold through our market's channels. Instead, they were sold through a higher-level trade fair. The vice president of Heaven Stage said, Why, Mr. Ling is interested. Oh, that's right, Mr. Ling provided some pills before. That's right. I was wondering if I could buy some materials. Lin Yi asked. This is not within my jurisdiction. I am only responsible for the safety of the herb garden. As for the sale of the medicine, the other vice president is in charge of it. The vice president of Heaven Stage said, Well, Mr. Ling, I'll help you ask. Call me in about a month and I'll give you the news. Anyway, it will take some time for this batch of medicinal materials to mature, so there's no hurry for the time being. All right. Thank you very much. Lin Yi said, I can guarantee that the pills I refine will be given priority to the vice president's market square. Hee hee. That's naturally the best. The vice president of Heaven Stage said with a smile, Then I wish us a happy cooperation. In fact, he helped Lin Yi because Lin Yi could provide pills to the cultivator market. One had to know that pills were one of the biggest sources of profit for the cultivator market. The profits from the invitation were directly collected by the Cultivator Trading Association and were not considered as the performance of the vice president of Heaven Stage. The profits earned from the auction were the performance of the vice president of Heaven Stage. That was why he was willing to lower his status and be on good terms with Lin Yi. Otherwise, Just because Lin Yi was stronger than him didn't mean that he would be so friendly. For a long time, the pills in the cultivator market were provided by the Hidden Yu family, but the Heaven Stage cultivator was not satisfied with this because the Hidden Yu family's quantity was too little. There were only about 20 to 30 pills each time. Most of them were common pills like Small Huan Pill, Meridian Unblocking Pill, Qi Replenishing Pill, Foundation Establishment Pill, Body Tempering Pill and so on. There were very few pills for cultivation like the Small Qi Gathering Pill. Lin Yi provided 5 small Qi Gathering Pills at once, which surprised the Vice President of Heaven Stage. Happy cooperation. I hope the Vice President of Heaven Stage can help. Lin Yi said quickly. Well, I will try my best to facilitate it. The Vice President of Heaven Stage nodded and said, however, you have to give me a guarantee first. You have to give me a guarantee first. Every 3 years, can you provide me with the same amount of elixirs as this time? Every 3 years. Lin Yi was slightly stunned. Yes, the Hidden Yu family will provide this amount of pills every 3 years, said the Vice President of Heaven Stage. Lin Yi was stunned. It turned out that the Hidden Yu family's pills weren't very productive. They only had this amount every 3 years. But with Lin Yi and Han Jingjing, as long as they had the materials, they could basically refine these pills in a few days. Of course, Lin Yi definitely couldn't say these words. If he said it, he would be a monster. It might be a disaster by then. The practitioner's market, it's only held once every 3 years. Lin Yi asked, confused. Of course not. When I said every 3 years, I meant second-grade elixir pills. But first-grade elixir pills, under normal circumstances, the Hidden Yu family will provide sufficient supply, so I don't recommend Mr. Ling to do business in this area anymore because the market is basically saturated. The Vice President of Heaven Stage said truthfully, although you sold all the Spirit Gathering pills in your hands this time, it was also because the Spirit Gathering pills are more popular for cultivation pills. As for the other first-grade pills, they are not so popular and have high profits. So that's how it is. Lin Yi nodded. In fact, he didn't even think about letting Han Jingjing refine first-grade pills. Anyway, it would take a lot of effort. Of course, refining second-grade pills was more promising and valuable. I can guarantee it. Okay, since Mr. Ling's words are a guarantee, then I will do my best. The Vice President of Heaven Stage agreed readily. Okay, I will go down the mountain first. I will leave everything here to the Vice President. After Lin Yi finished speaking, he returned the walkie-talkie to the team leader of the Law Enforcement Hall. The team leader of the Law Enforcement Hall took the walkie-talkie with a shocked expression and said, Senior Ling, please take care. Lin Yi nodded and walked down the mountain with a big suitcase. This time, the cultivator market could be said to have a fruitful harvest. Lin Yi got a lot of things he needed, and he also found a supply of materials for alchemy. This time, it was really not a wasted trip. After going down the mountain, Lin Yi didn't meet anyone along the way. The people of the Hidden Yu family had probably left long ago. Lin Yi also reached an agreement with the Vice President of Heaven Stage. As long as the Vice President of Heaven Stage was not stupid, the relationship between the two would deepen as the cooperation deepened. It was impossible for them to become enemies again, unless the Vice President of Heaven Stage couldn't live with money and his own performance. Chapter 2516_School Bells Bodyguard Free Reading Chapter 2516 Happy Cooperation Completed. Chapter 2510. Let's meet again. There were quite a lot of people in the parking lot at the foot of the mountain. After participating in the auction, the cultivators didn't leave immediately but left one after another. Some returned to their rooms to pack up their things, and some continued to set up their stalls until the market was completely closed tonight. Han Xiaope and Yu Xiaoke were overjoyed when they saw Lin Yi coming over with a big suitcase. It seemed that Lin Yi was fine. Previously, they saw third brother of the right bringing Yu Pangao down the mountain in a hurry, but Lin Yi didn't go down the mountain. They were very nervous. They were afraid that something would happen to Lin Yi. After all, nothing happened to the hidden Yu family, and they left in a hurry, but Lin Yi didn't go down the mountain. They couldn't help but think in a bad direction. However, even though they thought about it, they didn't dare to go up the mountain. What if Lin Yi's opponent wasn't the hidden Yu family, but the vice president of Heaven stage from the previous auction? If they went up the mountain to find Lin Yi, wouldn't it be equivalent to causing trouble for Lin Yi? Therefore, the only thing they could do was to wait, and they finally waited for Lin Yi. Boss! Han Xiaope opened the car door and waved at Lin Yi in surprise. Xiaope, are you anxious? Lin Yi smiled. I'm fine. It's just that we saw the hidden Yu family coming down the mountain. Boss didn't come down, so we were a little worried. Han Xiaope said truthfully, did you meet the vice president of Heaven stage again? You guessed right. Lin Yi nodded. I did meet the vice president. The two people from the Yu family were just a piece of cake. They didn't dare to make a move. Not only did they not make a move, but they also gave me a suitcase of money. Ah! Han Xiaope's eyes widened. He pointed at the suitcase in Lin Yi's hand in disbelief. This is money. The hidden Yu family gave it to you. Yes, they did give it to me, said Lin Yi. Alright, the boss is awesome. What about the vice president? Are you alright? Han Xiaope had seen many of Lin Yi's amazing deeds, so his heart could still take it. That vice president is not bad. He gave me a pure gold name card. Tell me if we can continue working together in the future. As Lin Yi spoke, he took out a pure gold business card. Pfft. Han Xiaope coughed twice. He looked at the business card in Lin Yi's hand and exclaimed, even my grandfather doesn't have this kind of business card. He only has a platinum-plated business card. Boss actually has a gold-plated business card. Looks like I was worried for nothing. There was no need to worry. Although Lin Yi said it casually, no one knew how dangerous it was at that time. If it weren't for Lin Yi's smart move to push the third elder of the right out, things would not have gone so smoothly. However, there was no need to tell Han Xiaope about this. After all, intelligence was not strength. Telling Han Xiaope would only make him worry. Then boss, I won't bother you anymore. I'll get in the car first. Han Xiaope saw Yu Xiaoke standing at the side and looking at Lin Yi with a silly smile. He shook his head and quickly turned around to get in the car. From Han Xiaope's point of view, Lin Yi's luck with women was too good. Wherever he went, beauties would come to him. However, Han Xiaope was not envious. With his status, it was natural to choose one in a million to find a girlfriend. However, with his current status, he could not be as casual as Lin Yi. His marriage would probably be arranged by his family. When the time came, he would definitely marry a girl from Lin Yi's family or sect. Xiaoke, this is for you. Lin Yi handed the box in his hand to Lin Yi. Thank you. Yu Xiaoke looked at Lin Yi affectionately. It was easy to meet, but it was hard to part. Yu Xiaoke did not expect to meet Lin Yi in the market. However, since they met, it was inevitable that she would feel empty and sad when they parted. How did you get here? Lin Yi asked. Xiao Ken and the driver from the orphanage drove me here. Yu Xiaoke pointed at a van not far away. It seemed to be the grocery van from the orphanage. Then let's part here, Lin Yi said. Then, will we have the chance to meet again in the future? Xiaoka actually knew. The two of them were going to part here, but she was still a little reluctant. Haven't you heard of this saying? If fate wills it, we will meet again. Originally, after we separated in the ancient tomb, after we parted in the ancient tomb, we should be far apart from each other, but we accidentally met many times. We will definitely meet again in the future. Lin Yi smiled. Xiaoka nodded her head forcefully. She said that she wouldn't be able to see him again, but now, she was looking forward to meeting him again. She hoped that she and the male thief were fated to meet again, and they would be able to see each other more often. Alright, go back. This money is enough for you for a while. We can slow down the expansion of the orphanage, Lin Yi said. Money. It's really not enough when it's time to use it. The orphanage is expanding, but there are a lot of hospitals all over the country that got the news. They're sending some abandoned babies with congenital diseases to my place. The cost of treating these abandoned babies is an astronomical figure. Xiaoka sighed. I can't bear to reject these children, Lin Yi sighed softly. This situation was unavoidable. The bigger Xiaoka's orphanage was, the more responsibility she had. She had to take in more abandoned babies, especially those with congenital diseases. Normal orphanages really couldn't afford the high cost of treating them. I'll think of a way for you. Lin Yi said to Xiaoka, don't force yourself too much. Don't do dangerous things like this in the future. If you get caught stealing an invitation, how are you going to deal with it? Plus, even if you come here, you don't have much of a chance. These people are all masters. It's too hard to steal from them. Lin Yi could tell that the people who had the invitation were either from hidden houses or sects, or they were solo practitioners who had reached Earth class. Normal houses and solo practitioners didn't even know about the existence of this market. Xiaoka stealing from them was like taking chestnuts from a fire. I understand. Xiaoka was happy that the man cared about her. Actually, it was a coincidence that she got the invitation. A practitioner accidentally left his coat on the seat when he was eating in a restaurant. She picked it up along the way, so it wasn't too dangerous. But, Lin Yi was right, Xiaoka only realized how vigilant the people here were after coming here. It was extremely difficult to steal something from here. Their money was all in suitcases, and even if Xiaoka was a master thief, she wouldn't be able to steal the suitcases. That wouldn't be stealing, it would be robbery. Chapter 2517 _ School Bells Bodyguard Free Reading _ Chapter 2517 Fated to Meet Again has been updated. Chapter 2511. It looked like they got a lot of money this time, but in reality, it was all Lin Yi's doing. Xiaoka had nothing to do with it. Alright, I'm going now. You can go back too, Lin Yi patted Xiaoka's hair with a smile. Xiaoka nodded dumbly, her eyes soft as water. She gathered her courage and kissed him on the cheek once more. Even with the mask on, she could feel the deep affection from that kiss. After kissing Lin Yi, Xiaoka turned around and ran to her car, waving at Lin Yi as she got in the car. What surprised Lin Yi was that she was from the Fian sect after all, dragging 2 suitcases behind her. She was still running as if she was flying. Xiaoka sis, male thief bro is here too. Ken looked at Lin Yi not far away with a smile. What does a kid know? Xiaoka glared at Ken. All I know is that male thief bro gave us a lot of money. These 2 suitcases are filled with money, right? Ken had become a greedy ghost under Xiaoka's influence. It is money, but why can't I steal it? Xiaoka said, troubled. How did you steal such a big suitcase? I saw with my own eyes that male thief bro gave one to you, the other one is probably the same, right? Ken said. Ken, are you asking for a beating? Xiaoka raged, I won't give you a single cent when we get back, you won't have dinner tonight. Aw. No. Ken said helplessly, I'm praising male thief bro, okay? Oh. Is that so? Alright, I'll give you dinner then. Xiaoka smiled again. Xiao Ken was speechless. She thought to herself, women who are passionately in love are really stupid. Even the smart sister Xiao Ko has become like this. But luckily, Lin Yibro was a strong man. With his help, the development of the orphanage was progressing by leaps and bounds, and Xiaoka sis really wasn't losing out by following him. Lin Yi sighed and got into Han Xiaopa's car. Boss, why did she call you a male thief? Is that your nickname? Xiaopa didn't understand the relationship between Lin Yi and Xiaoka. When they were in the car, he didn't dare to say much about Lin Yi. When Yu Xiaoka asked him anything, he only said that he was Lin Yi's follower. It's not really a nickname. It's an identity I used before. She doesn't know I'm Lin Yi said. I see. Han Xiaopa nodded. He was not a gossipy person. He nodded in understanding and said, Boss, where are we going now? Let's go back. Lin Yi's purpose of coming here had been achieved, so he didn't want to stay any longer. Okay. Han Xiaopa nodded, started the car, and headed toward East Ocean City. What Lin Yi didn't know was that in Donghai Industry University, Pinliang had set up an arena in the school. He even wrote the slogan Love War on the arena. There was an explanation below. I will be Mingyao's personal bodyguard. I hereby challenge all masters. I will stand in the arena and take a beating without fighting back. If anyone can knock me down within 10 minutes, I will give you 1,000 yuan in cash. If you can't knock me down, you will have to pay 1,000 yuan. Of course, you could only use your fists and legs, but you couldn't use any other methods. One had to admit that Pinliang's gimmick was very accurate. Knocking someone down and getting 1,000 yuan for free was the best thing in the world. This was exactly what Pinliang wanted. This way, he could establish the fact that he was invincible. Meng Yao and Yushu wouldn't be able to object. Pinliang could say that he was the strongest person in the world right now. He was the person who could protect Meng Yao the most. No one could knock him down no matter how hard they tried. If he wasn't qualified to be a bodyguard, then who was? Bodyguards didn't just need to be skilled. More importantly, they had to take a beating for their employer at a critical moment. This was an idea. It was an idea that Pinliang came up with after thinking for a whole night. He wasn't as stupid as before. Yushu wouldn't let him go, so he couldn't just sit there and wait. What if Yushu tricked him and extended the inspection period indefinitely? He couldn't wait that long. Lin Yi might have already carried Meng Yao to bed by then, and he wouldn't even have the chance. So, he had to choose to attack. In the beginning, there were a lot of people who were greedy for the 1,000 yuan that Pinliang offered. From their perspective, if Pinliang didn't fight back, they could just knock him down with a few flying kicks. It wouldn't even take 10 minutes. And so, they all signed up to participate. But reality wasn't what they imagined. Pinliang was like a cockroach that couldn't be killed. The punches that landed on him didn't seem to do any damage to him at all. Although it wasn't like punching a rock, after a long time, their fists and feet would still hurt. Pinliang, on the other hand, was still standing there, looking down on the crowd. Some students even kicked Pinliang's crotch, but the result was the same. Pinliang was fine, as if nothing had happened. His leg, on the other hand, was hurting from using too much force. In short, no one could knock Pinliang down within 10 minutes. They couldn't even make Pinliang look like he was in pain. And so, after these people helplessly handed over the 1,000 yuan, the number of people who went up the stage decreased. Although the conditions seemed to be favorable to them, everyone understood that if they didn't have a diamond in the rough, they wouldn't do it. If Zhong Pingliang dared to say something like this, he must be prepared and confident. Meng Yao frowned when she saw the news on the school's BBS forum. She was a little annoyed by Pingliang's sensationalism, but Pingliang had done it plenty of times in high school. Shoo, why is Pingliang so annoying? Didn't you tell him to wait for the news? Meng Yao turned to Yushu. What's wrong with him? Yushu shook her head. Man, Liangzi seems to have gotten smarter. He knows that I might be messing with him, so he's trying to stall for time. Yushu saw through Pingliang's plan immediately. Then what do we do? Meng Yao asked. I don't have a choice. We can only wait for Shield Bro. Yushu shook her head helplessly. Aren't you omnipotent, Shu? Why can't you do it now? You're not omnipotent anymore. Plus, do you think Lin Yi can solve it? Isn't Pingliang invincible under Sky Class? Can Lin Yi take care of that golden cicada underwear? Meng Yao asked. Chapter 25:12. Almighty Shu. Yushu thought about it. There's a way, actually. Let's just get Elder Pai to punch him, and everything will be fine. Elder Pai's a Sky Class, he won't be able to defend against his attack. That's a good idea, but didn't Elder Pai go back already? Plus, if they let Elder Pai handle this, wouldn't it bring trouble to the Hidden House Pai? Isn't Pingliang from the Everyday sect or something? Wouldn't it be a problem if they found out that a master from a hidden house came to the common world? Meng Yao asked worriedly. This wasn't the same as before, after all. Last time, it was Elder Pai who came out to save Xinyan from the shadows, and the robbers were either idiots or idiots. This time, however, it was different. They were doing it in front of everyone. Yeah, that's why Almighty Shu isn't omnipotent sometimes. Yushu shrugged helplessly. Actually, it's easy to handle. We just need to ignore him. Ignore him. Meng Yao blinked. Yeah, just ignore him. Yushu said. When Shield Bro comes back, it'd be great if he can beat him, but if he can't, I'll think of a way to change Pingliang's golden cicada underwear, and Shield Bro will be able to beat him. After that, I'll tell him that the previous matches don't count, since we weren't watching. Let him fight Shield Bro again, and Shield Bro will win for sure. Shoo, it looks like you're not afraid at all. No wonder you're not nervous. Meng Yao sighed in relief after hearing Yushu's words. It's not that I'm not afraid. I'm actually thinking, how can I get Liangzi's good stuff? That iron rod of his is pretty good, too. If Shield Bro gets it, heh 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 heh. Yushu said with a wicked smile. Getting it all. That's not a good idea, is it? Meng Yao said worriedly. Will the Everyday sect behind him agree? If they don't agree, then let them give Liangzi some more stuff, and we'll get it when he comes back to act cool. Yushu said disapprovingly, Little Liang is such a good person, giving equipment to Shield Bro. Pfft. Meng Yao almost burst into laughter at Yushu's words. Pingliang was really unlucky, encountering a Zhou Ripper like Shu. Whatever good stuff he brought, he'd lose it all. But Meng Yao didn't sympathize with him. Pingliang had kidnapped her and Shu before, and had done a lot of things to harm Lin Yi. How could Meng Yao sympathize with him? Lin Yi got into Han Xiaopa's car and arrived at Donghai Industry University. Lin Yi heard the students talking about Pingliang's arena the moment he parked the car in the parking lot. And Lin Yi naturally paid attention to it. What Lin Yi didn't expect was that Pingliang would use this method to force him to abdicate. It was a lot smarter than before, but with Shu here, would it really work? Let's go and take a look, Lin Yi said to Han Xiaopa. Boss, you have some kind of conflict with this Pinliang. Han Xiaopa got the gist of it. Yeah. Mingyao's pursuer, my high school classmate, Lin Yi said, this guy used to go against me all the time, and recently joined the Everyday sect. He got himself some mid-class golden cicada underwear, and anyone under sky class won't be afraid anymore. So it's him. Xiaopa understood what Lin Yi was talking abruptly. No wonder Lin Yi was asking about the mid-level golden cicada underwear yesterday. So this was what it was all about. The two followed the crowd to where Pinliang was holding the arena, and saw Pinliang standing on the stage with a proud look on his face. No one went up the stage again, however, as if they knew that it was impossible to defeat Pinliang, and so they just watched the show from below the stage. They wanted to see if there were any idiots coming up to die. Lin Yi. Ha, Lin Yi, you're back. Pinliang saw Lin Yi in the crowd, and yelled excitedly, Lin Yi, come up to the arena since you're back. Don't be a coward. Lin Yi didn't want to go up to the arena immediately, because he didn't know Pinliang's situation, and he didn't want to make a move before he understood Yushu and Mingyao's intentions. But Pinliang had already yelled out those words. If Lin Yi backed down in front of the crowd, it'd give Pinliang an excuse to force him to abdicate. He'd find Mingyao and Yushu and say, if Lin Yi doesn't dare fight me, then what right does he have to be your bodyguard? This would put Mingyao and Yushu in a difficult position. Alright, since you've invited me, I'll come up and try. Lin Yi nodded, and with a leap, he landed on the arena Pinliang had built. It was called an arena, but it was just a gymnasium. I'll stand here, you can fight. Pinliang looked at Lin Yi fearlessly, his arms crossed in front of his chest, as if he was above all. Fiery 8 trigrams palm, 5th form. Lin Yi didn't use his strongest move right away, since it would consume too much energy. Lin Yi only needed to use the 5th form of Fiery 8 trigrams palm to see if Pinliang was really invincible under Sky class, and if he could defend against Lin Yi's skill, which was equivalent to the 11th form of Sky class. Boom! Lin Yi's palm landed on Pinliang's body, and although Pinliang was unharmed, he was still forced back a few steps by Lin Yi's strength. He barely managed to steady himself, and looked at Lin Yi, surprised. Not bad, but it's nothing to me. Pinliang didn't expect Lin Yi's move to be this strong. After all, Lin Yi was the only person who could make him take a few steps back since he came down from the mountain. As for the others, they couldn't do anything to him at all. Basically, all the power was absorbed by the golden cicada undergarment, and Pinliang didn't feel anything. However, Lin Yi's palm did make him take a few steps back, and it was enough to show that Lin Yi was stronger than the others. But Pinliang thought about it. All the people he faced before were Mystic and Golden class, and only Lin Yi was an Earth class, so it made sense that he was stronger. But even an Earth class couldn't do anything to him, right? He had underestimated his opponent, and didn't adjust his stance in time, causing him to take a few steps back. He needed to focus now. Pinliang was surprised, and Lin Yi was even more surprised. One had to know that the 5th form of Lin Yi's Fiery 8 trigrams palm was equivalent to the 11th form of Sky class. Chapter 25:13. Lin Yi was shocked that the 11th form had no effect on Pinliang. It seemed like this mid-tier golden cicada underwear was really good stuff. Was it really divided according to strength? He wasn't a Sky class, so even if he used a Sky class skill, he wouldn't be able to hurt Pinliang. Lin Yi wasn't satisfied and didn't answer Pinliang's question. He used his strongest skill, the 7th form of fiery 8 trigrams palm. Boom! Lin Yi's palm landed on Pingliang's chest again, and a strong fire element chi burst out from Lin Yi's palm. Even an early-stage sky class would be heavily injured if they took a hit from Lin Yi, but Pingliang was only sent flying by Lin Yi. His body flew out of the ring and landed heavily on the ground as Lin Yi's chi exploded. Good. Oh dash, that's great. That's amazing. The audience cheered when they saw Pingliang get knocked down by Lin Yi. There was a saying that went, the experts knew the ropes, while the amateurs enjoyed the show. The students here were all normal people, not practitioners. As far as they were concerned, Lin Yi defeating Zhong Pingliang was a victory for him. And Pingliang had to pay Lin Yi 1,000 yuan as a reward. Of course, although Pingliang was sent flying by Lin Yi knew that Pingliang wasn't injured at all. Other than the fall, he was perfectly fine. He wasn't injured at all. This situation made Lin Yi feel helpless and speechless. Even an early-stage sky class was no match for him, and Pingliang was just a normal practitioner. He couldn't do anything to him. How sad was this? It seemed like the mid-tier golden cicada underwear protected the opponent's level. As long as he didn't reach sky class, even if he used a sky class skill, his strength was still there. He still couldn't do anything to Pingliang. Although most of the people below the stage were cheering, there were also a few who were silent after seeing this scene. That was Tiger Right, Yellow Hair, Purple Hair, Li Biaohan, and the others. Tiger Right, Yellow Hair, and Purple Hair were fine after taking the pill. Li Biaohan, on the other hand, had a cast on his leg and was sitting in a wheelchair, looking very pitiful. He came here to find a sense of balance. He watched others get bullied by Pingliang. His frustration lessened a little, but when he saw that even Lin Yi couldn't do anything to Pingliang, he felt a strong sense of fear. Tiger Right and the others felt the same. They were all practitioners, and could naturally tell that Lin Yi was using the 13th form of sky class skill. Although they were curious as to how a mere Earth class mid-phase peak was able to use the 13th form of the Heaven class, they were even more curious as to why Pingliang wasn't injured at all after being hit by the 13th form. Lin Yi's move was enough to cripple a sky class early phase or even early phase peak. But Pingliang wasn't injured at all. Other than being sent flying off the stage, he didn't seem to have any other injuries. Kid. Lost, right? Can't take it anymore. Now you know there's always someone better than you. Yeah, hurry up and pay up. You've swallowed so much money before, it's time to pay up. Hurry up and pay up. Be quick. It had to be said that the students were all focused on Pingliang's payout. They didn't care why Pingliang wasn't afraid of the fight, nor did they care if Lin Yi could do anything to him. They just saw that Pingliang lost, so they wanted him to pay up. Pingliang was a little annoyed. He stood up and jumped onto the stage, speaking to Lin Yi, "No, let's fight again. You're different from the others. It doesn't matter if you beat me, you have to beat me first." What the hell? Are you going to keep your word? You said it yourself, I just have to beat you and I'll get 1,000 kwai. Why is it different now? Yeah. Isn't this a scam? You're so happy when you win, but now you're changing the terms when you lose. Isn't this a scam? Liar, this kid is a liar. Yeah, where's the guy who lost? Let's ask him for a refund. The one who spoke was a sports major student who went up to the stage. He was instigating the people who lost to ask Xiaofu for their money. Sure enough, as soon as he said that, the others responded and surrounded Gao Xiaofu, saying, "Hurry up and refund the money." I. Xiaofu looked at Pingliang awkwardly. "Do you want to get beaten up?" Liar, if you don't give us a refund, we'll beat you up and send you to the school leaders. They'll say that you're scamming students. A student said. Yeah, the school will definitely give you demerits. Another student said. Maybe they'll even expel you. Another student added fuel to the fire. Give it back, give it to them. Pinliang said helplessly. He was really afraid that Xiaofu would be at a disadvantage. He wasn't afraid of getting beaten up, but Xiaofu was. What if Xiaofu got beaten up half to death? Although refunding his money was a little embarrassing, it was still better than Xiaofu getting beaten up. He would lose even more face if that happened. Fine, I'll refund your money. Xiaofu said helplessly. He refunded the money to the people who went up to the stage before they let him go. Lin Yi, on the other hand, calculated the pros and cons in his mind and said to Pinliang, I'm sorry, if you want to compete in something else, we can do it another day. I don't have time today. With that, Lin Yi ignored Pinliang and jumped off the stage. Although he knew that he lost the battle, the other students didn't. They saw that Lin Yi had won and defeated Pinliang. This way, Pinliang wouldn't be able to use public opinion to force Meng Yao and Yushu on the school's forum. Pinliang was furious, but there was nothing he could do after Lin Yi left. He couldn't force Lin Yi to compete, could he? He couldn't beat Lin Yi up with a stick. It would be fine if there was no one around, but in front of everyone, people would think that he was beating up Xiaofu because he couldn't afford to lose the 1,000 kuai. That would be even more disadvantageous to him. He could only give up. Xiaofu, where's the 1,000 kuai? Lin Yi walked up to Xiaofu after he got off the stage and extended his hand. Xiaofu hesitated. He was afraid of getting beaten up, so he took out the 1,000 kuai and handed it to Lin Yi helplessly. Chapter 25:14. Pinliang wasn't afraid of getting beaten up, but Xiaofu was. One slap from Lin Yi would be enough to kill him. Lin Yi put the 1,000 kuai into his pocket, he didn't care about the money. He only did it to annoy Pinliang a little, making him shoot himself in the foot. It was also a way to cover up his helplessness in losing, in case Pinliang used the opportunity to force Meng Yao to abdicate again. Lin Yi took the money and left. Pinliang cursed Lin Yi for being a coward in his heart, but he didn't dare say it out loud in front of everyone. If he did, the students in the audience might start cursing at him. After all, everyone saw that Pinliang had lost, and it was reasonable for Lin Yi to reject his challenge. In their eyes, Pinliang was being shameless. If Pinliang showed even the slightest bit of dissatisfaction, the students might think that he was a sore loser. And so, Pinliang didn't have the face to continue setting up the arena. He quickly packed up with Xiaofu and left the arena under the disdainful gazes of the students. The other students dispersed after the two left, and the commotion died down just as quickly as it started. Some of the nosy students had already uploaded the battle report to the school's BBS forum, and Meng Yao and Yushu were the first ones to see the results. Yeah, Shield Bro didn't disappoint us. He beat Pinliang. Yushu said excitedly as she pointed at the post. Meng Yao, on the other hand, wasn't as excited as Yushu. She sighed helplessly. It looks like Lin Yi won, but he still lost. Lin Yi really can't do anything to Pinliang with that mid-level golden cicada underwear on, that's true, but Yao Yao, we should be satisfied. This result is much better than I expected. Yushu said. At least Pinliang can't use this to force us to abdicate and become your bodyguard. We don't have to rack our brains to find an excuse to reject him. As long as I steal his treasure, he'll be waiting to be beaten up, roar 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 roar. Shoo, why do you have such a creepy laugh? Mingyao's hair stood on end from Yushu's laugh. It's been a while since I've meshed with people. I'm a little excited now that there's business. Yushu said embarrassedly. Lin Yi's call came in the middle of their conversation. Meng Yao picked it up. Lin Yi, you're back. Yeah, I met Zhong Pingliang earlier. Lin Yi said. Meng Yao continued before Lin Yi could finish. Yeah, I know. I saw the live broadcast on the school's BBS. You beat him. What do you mean, knocked down? If it was someone else, they would have died long ago. He's not injured at all. This mid-grade golden cicada underwear is really strange. Lin Yi said with a bitter smile. Shield bro, don't worry. Shu will take care of the rest for you. Yushu grabbed the phone and said to Lin Yi. Shield bro used to be the one protecting me. This time, I'm going to protect Shield bro. You. Done. Lin Yi blinked. Shu wants to trade Pingliang's mid-grade golden cicada underwear. Meng Yao explained Shu's idea to Lin Yi. You can do that. Lin Yi didn't even think of using his low-grade golden cicada underwear to trade Pingliang's commodity one. If it really worked, then Pingliang was really unlucky. Roar roar roar. Of course it works. Meng Yao mimicked Yushu and laughed evilly. Lin Yi was stunned. Miss, when did Shu infect you? What do you mean infect? We've always been alike, alright. Meng Yao humphed. Alright, I won't bother then. I'll wait for the good news. Lin Yi said. I'll go back first then. I'll pick you guys up tonight. It was the weekend, and although there were people in school, they were all electives. They didn't have to go. Usually, when Lin Yi wasn't home, Meng Yao and Yushu would come to school. Meng Yao and Yushu only came to school for class. They wouldn't come if Lin Yi was at home. Lin Yi came to school, but he didn't plan on going to the electives. He just gathered the rainbow steel, pure yellow jade, and blue crystal. It wasn't a big amount, but he wanted to go back and try making the jade space. After all, Lin Yi had been looking forward to this for a long time. Now that he had all the materials, of course he wanted to give it a try. Okay, see you tonight. Meng Yao said. Lin Yi turned around and got into Han Xiaopa's car. Let's go back to the villa in the Shuashang district. Lin Yi said. Okay, boss. Han Xiaopa nodded and started the car. At the same time, Pinliang and Xiaofu escaped to a secluded place and sat down in a pavilion, panting heavily. This was the school's little forest. In the summer, these pavilions were a haven for young people to love, study, and play cards, but in the winter, there was no one around. No one was stupid enough to come here in the cold. What a miscalculation, who would have thought that Lin Yi would come back at this time? Pinliang said angrily. My mid-tier golden cicada undershirt can defend against attacks from practitioners below sky class, but Lin Yi is still an earth class mid-phase peak. He can still send me flying. Yeah, we wouldn't have held this arena if we'd known this would happen. Maybe we could have changed the rules when Lin Yi came, instead of letting Lin Yi come up. Xiaofu nodded in agreement. Things were going pretty well at first, and I thought I'd go to Meng Yao and Yushu and force them to let me be their bodyguard. It didn't matter if they were willing or not, as long as I became their bodyguard, everything would be a lot smoother from here on out. Wasn't Lin Yi disliked back then? Pinliang's plan wasn't bad, but there were some problems in implementing it. I wonder if Meng Yao knows about this. Xiaofu hesitated. Liang bro, maybe you should give Yushu a call and see what they're thinking. Maybe they've already seen the situation, or maybe they'll let Lin Yi say something unfavorable to Liang bro. Not bad, that's a good suggestion. Lin Yi's a sly bastard. I need to give Yushu a call and tell her that Lin Yi's shameless act this time. Pin Liang quickly took out his phone and called Yushu. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.